Kroger reaching a $68 million settlement with the state of West Virginia over an opioid lawsuit. And according to West Virginia's Attorney General Patrick Morrisey, Kroger contributed to the oversupply of opioids in his state. The AG joins us now. Patrick Morrisey, Attorney General, good to see you, and thank you so much. So again, West Virginia, the hardest hit state in terms of the opioid crisis. Talk to us about your state, how it prevailed in this lawsuit, and do you think it's a step in the right direction in terms of combating the opioid epidemic in your state? Your thoughts, sir?
Absolutely. So thank you for having me on this such an important topic. So we had brought litigation against the entities within the pharmaceutical supply channel who we alleged had dramatically oversupplied our population, and we alleged they did so in violation of our laws. So with this Kroger settlement, we've actually concluded a lot of our litigation, but we feel good with the results. And of course, it's never going to take back the debts and the pain that occurred, but it's a good opportunity for us to put in place a plan that's going to allow us to attack the opioid and the fentanyl plague and menace from a supply, a demand, and an educational perspective. And I think that's particularly important given the flood of fentanyl that's coming in from China across to the Mexican drug cartels and makes its way right here to West Virginia. So this is a good result. Now the next step is ensuring that the money is going to be spent wisely. We have a first of its kind private foundation that will be in place, and I think West Virginia is going to be ahead of the curve taking on this terrible menace.
I want to get to that in just a bit, but if I can stay with the lawsuit for a bit.
Yeah.
Kroger released a statement, obviously. You spent $68 million on a settlement. You're going to put a statement out, and here it is. Kroger says, while we continue to believe that the allegations made against Kroger in this and other opioid lawsuits are without merit, we have decided that a settlement is the best path forward to resolve this litigation, unquote. And if you could speak to that or not, if they don't believe if they believe that these allegations are without merit, why not let the case play out? Why come to the $68 million lawsuit or settlement and walk away from it? I know that you do not speak for Kroger, but with your legal background, perhaps why that pathway was chosen.
Well, first of all, we believe that all of our cases had a lot of merit, which is why we were proceeding down. We went to trial against a number of companies, and in fact, the trial date was scheduled for early June. So we believe very strongly in our claims. But as many people watching know, every time you go to trial, there's litigation risk. And while we feel very confident in our ability to prove the allegations, and we know we alleged and we believe we had evidence that there were dramatic violations of the law, the reality is that whenever you get to a court and then you have to go through many years of appeal, you have to assess what the risks are. Yeah. And you have to put your people first. So that's what we did here.
Right.
And so I know companies will always say, well, this was not without merit, but I don't think that's correct. And I believe that we did the right thing, and this is a good result, but it reduces the risk for the people of our state and allows us to begin a little bit more of the healing.
Yeah, and that's ultimately what this is about, right? Saving lives, ultimately helping save human lives. I wanted to talk about the money, and we'll close with that. That's a lot of money, $68 million. I know you've touted this earlier, the framework for spending the funds for your state on fighting the opioid epidemic. I believe more than 70% will go to a newly created foundation overseen by a board chosen by the governor, by local governments.
That's right.
Can you explain that and how that would work, and how maybe you believe this new program could combat the problem there in your state specifically?
Absolutely. So first of all, this is the first time ever West Virginia actually has a plan and resources to attack the plan to face the drug menace. So once again, that's opioids, that's the fentanyl product that's coming in. So this first of its kind structure is going to be terrific because you're right, it's going to have a board, it's a private foundation, there'll be 5 appointments from the governor, 6 from the regions, and they're going to be doing needs assessments across the state of West Virginia in terms of how to spend the money the right way. It's not going to be just another government program where money goes down the black hole. In fact, quite the opposite. We're going to have the best and brightest in the private sector working together, and I'm excited about that because too often money has been wasted by government, whether it's tobacco or other items. The other thing I would note is that this foundation then will be endowed with significant resources because I declined the national settlements and we doubled up on a lot of the resources we would be able to get. We're number one per capita in settlements in the country, but that's only valuable if you spend the money the right way. This plan and the needs assessment, I think it's going to lead to great things for our state, and it's particularly relevant with the fentanyl flooding into West Virginia.
Yeah, a whole other issue there, and we'll continue to follow that. Again, Kroger settling a lawsuit there with the state of West Virginia for $68 million. Attorney General Patrick Morrisey of West Virginia joining us. Thank you so much. Good to see you, AG.
Hey, thank you so much. Appreciate it.